Kenny or is that Talia?
That's Kenny.
That's
He's
Kenny.
being Can you say hi?
Hello there.
Say hi
Hey,
to
Talia.
all the listeners. But the audio is going to sound kind of bad in this one. Want to sit in here in the whole thing, or are you
No, they're just gonna be here.
saying hi? How is your say hi to the listeners
Hello, listeners
and viewers?
and viewers.
Say
Cheese.
Okay.
Right. So, hi there, Carissa. How are
Hi,
you?
Kristine. I'm good. How are you?
So this is going to be the most unscripted show.
Yes.
So we'll see how it goes. And we don't have any fun little icebreaker thingy at the end either. I wasn't even thinking. I started my new job this week and I've been sort of preoccupied with it and then just trying to balance out the rest of my life. So, we'll see how that goes.
But it's just, the
But
reality of it
yeah,
all.
I know. Of course. I know. I have to be an adult. I need money. I'm poor. Inflation is high. Jiu-jitsu is expensive. So,
Ditto. Ditto.
and you got cheer. And I have 2 kids in the sport. It's crazy.
Plus wrestling.
Oh, wrestling was kind of cheap. I actually had to pay for 2 months. I had to pay $60 for each kid.
Oh,
So it was only $120.
that's
If
not-
they want to compete, I think I have to pay for all that stuff. But yep.
yeah, that's why we work. I always tell people and Layla, it's like the only
Yeah.
reason why I work is so that she can like compete and train.
Totally. It just adds up, so I'm not really sure how this what we're going to talk about today. We have like a couple topics. So it's not completely unscripted. Like we have ideas of what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we should go with what you said just
Really?
because
Okay. Do you want to deep dive already or do you want to like have a little foreplay?
Well, I think we need to ease into it.
Ease into it. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a dog like literally right next to me, like sleeping. The other one was over here too. So they were both cuddled up. Like I was like, ew, get a room. So back when remember when we first had like the lockdown for COVID? So we're all just stuck at home, right? And we were so bored. I was like, oh my gosh, we should do like a dog wedding. I don't know why.
It's so cute.
One boy dog, one girl dog. So I was like, let's do it. So I have pictures. I'll have to share it. But Mike had like a black shirt on. All Mike had to do was pretend to be the minister or whatever. And Dahlia was the flower girl. Kenny was the ring bearer. And I just put like one of my old like Marine Corps ball dresses on. We put like a little, like I put like a scarf. I asked my neighbors if any of them had like white cloth or anything like that. And so I sewed or I maybe hot glued like old flowers, like plastic flowers that I had. And I like made a little veil for her and I like tied it around the dog. I have to send you pictures. You're going to die. And we just had like a whole, like we even played the wedding march and we recorded it. And people also on their lockdown were like, this was the best thing I've seen this like in the past 2 weeks. And I was like, this is how bored we are.
That is funny.
But now we call so mainly we're always talking to the boy dog and we're like, where's your sister wife? Because Misa,
Sister wife.
yeah,
I like that.
Because it's easier to say than like, where's your brother husband?
That's true. It rolls off the tongue more.
Right? So
Yes.
actually today while we're airing, it's International Podcast Day. And I know, and we decided to go live today, like premiere, I guess. But yesterday I kind of posted them up anyways. So
it's exciting.
I'm
excited to share it.
Yeah.
We've already gotten some support from like our friends and stuff. So that's super exciting.
I don't know. We'll see how much support we get from when they hear our second show. Just kidding.
You're really funny. That's actually what I was thinking too.
I know.
I was like,
some people might not like me after this one.
But that's okay.
I think that's the whole point. Like I was trying to think like, isn't that the whole point of your podcast, to be able to say what you want to say?
But I mean, that's also like the whole meaning of the name, right? It's like
Right.
everything goes.
Everything
like-
goes. Let's just do it anyways.
And people might not like us after the show either. Like, let's be honest.
Oh, some people already don't like me, so it's okay.
Yeah.
We were thinking, since we have both left gyms and schools, we can talk about why we've done that, like what led to it or what happened, and how we are handling that, or how we've handled it in the past. Carissa, do you want to start?
One big thing, and so it's kind of a double-edged sword almost. And somebody once said to me, it's like, in jujitsu, it's very important for you to get like a well-rounded like instruction, right?
Mhm.
So learning from various instructors and those type of things can really help you because different people teach different ways.
Right.
But on the other side of that, one of the things that I guess I really value in jujitsu is that loyalty piece.
Okay.
And so I think that's something, because I've had to leave gyms both on good terms and bad.
Mm.
And then I remember when we first got here, I was like, man, to the jujitsu community, because we did move around gyms quite a bit when we were trying to find a place for Layla. It's like, they probably think like we're a total flake and like just totally like unreliable, like don't really want them to train with us, vice versa, because there is no loyalty there.
Right.
And although I understand that especially in like a sports team type of way, right? It's like,
Mhm.
we don't want to be bandwagon.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like in that loyalty piece, my loyalty lies with my kid.
Of course. You
So
have
I
to
need-
do what's best for your family.
Yeah, so it's like I need to make
Always.
sure that wherever I have her training at is what's actually best for her.
Right. You're never going to be wrong, or you're never going to make the wrong choice if you make the best choice for yourself or your family.
Yeah. And I think like as I've grown up, it's like, yes, relationships with other people are important, friendships are important, but at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, most of those people are not going to be there for you.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to go in.
Deep dive.
Let's see. Okay. So
Push it in.
you can love your professor, you can love your coaches, instructors, whatever, as much as you do, but they're not going to pay your bills. Like, let's be real, they're not paying your bills. They're actually collecting money from you. And you're the one ultimately that you're going to make the decision. You're the one, you're going to decide on how, not just financially, or not just, like in the best way you can learn, but literally like you're going to be the one showing up. So do you want to pay $200 a month for a gym membership or a, jujitsu membership and not go and only go once a month? Like that's really going to boil down to it being you. And so I think it's really important that you are realistic. And feelings aside, you got to do what's best for you. So I'm not sure what the sentiment is now, but I will say the last place we left from, I don't think they were very happy when we left. We kind of left, I wouldn't say on bad terms. Well, I didn't think it was on bad terms at first, but we kind of just stopped going. Our membership ended at like the end of May, technically. We stopped going like February. Like my kids had learned from their current coach, probably at least Dahlia from the beginning. Kenny had other instruction from the other jujitsu instructors at that school. So he and he also had instruction from the other, like the karate, because he did karate. So he did both those. So he had a little bit deeper connection with them, but as far as competition, it was always, our current coach. And whatever happened between Coach Chino and the owner of the last gym, that all went down. I'm not gonna tell that story. I'll invite Chino if he wants to come and tell that story. But ended their relationship with each other. Not relationship, that makes them sound weird. But they ended their business relationship with each other. And literally maybe a couple weeks after that ended, Chino was in the process of opening up his own school. You know, Mike got a taste of what Chino could offer because he hadn't really learned from him. He did some private lessons with him when he was training for a competition. And then, but he had actually never been taught by Chino in a classroom situation. And then when he did have, kind of Chino's as a instructor, he liked it so much. He was like, I don't think I can go back to the other school. Like the quality is just different and it's exactly what he wanted to do at the time. Like he wanted to compete and do better and grow faster. And my kids were on that route as well. I personally was like, I'm going to do what I can to try and maybe salvage both of the relationships with both schools. But so I tried my hardest to learn. I think for myself, my pace was better at or whatever pace that the old school was instructing at. Just because I'm a little bit of a slower learner when it comes to those physical situations. Chino school is a little bit more amped up. I'll say it's a little bit more intense. It's also probably why I don't train as much. I was used to something a little bit slower and more beginner level. And Chino's is more like competitive focus. And that's why my kids do so well under his instruction. That's what they want. Whereas I'm like, eh.
But I think that's like a really good point
Mm-hmm.
because like we left a gym in Georgia on good terms and it was just because we were moving as military.
Oh,
We
right.
love that gym.
Yeah.
That's where Layla got her first like taste of competition
Mm-hmm.
basically. But when we moved here, it was like in the middle of holiday season. So most of the gyms were kind of closed. And
Yeah.
so like I took kind of like the first couple weeks to do the trial. Like they usually
Of
have like
course.
a
Yeah.
1 week trial at
Yes.
each gym. It was one of those things like actually exactly one of those things that you mentioned. One of the gyms that we went to, it was very geared towards beginners for
Mm-hmm.
their kids' classes,
Mm-hmm.
which was great. But the reason why I went there and I was like, I don't think this is going to be the place for us and for Layla is because they took the extra step to break down the moves to the point where they were adding like claps and cues for the
Okay.
kids to do it so that they do it correctly.
Yeah.
So Layla's trying to do a takedown, but she was clapping beforehand, which was slowing her down. And then like she was getting frustrated at herself because she's like, "Oh, I forgot the clap." And I'm just like, "Okay, you don't really need to clap before you do a takedown."
Yeah. Like you know how to do a takedown,
Yeah.
so like you're
Yeah.
good. You're good.
And again, not to say that that teaching style isn't great or that,
Right.
Other kids wouldn't really excel there. But like you mentioned, like Layla wanted to be competitive, and
Mhm.
that's a little bit of why, I tried all of the other schools.
Mhm.
Another school that we had tried, and I briefly mentioned this on our first episode, is it just felt like they just wanted my money. It was
Mhm.
like very high pressure and almost like stressful that they were like order a new gi and like
Right.
sign like a 2-year contract so that you lock in this rate because it's not gonna be guaranteed. And I think also since I am in marketing, like those things are like
They're like
triggers for
red
me.
flags in your head. Yeah, you know
Yes.
those strategies that businesses will do. Yep.
And I don't know, like it triggers me and I'm just like,
Yeah, I
like
understand that for sure.
we're not
Did
gonna
you
do this.
know in the state of North Carolina, you can hold your like if you're a gym, you can hold your members to a 3-year contract. Like,
Yeah.
isn't that insane? Like are locked in for 3 years. Like, what if I don't well, I mean, I've been in a long-term I've been married to Mike for like 11 years. But like, what if you don't like that? What if something happened in that gym? Let's say something personal happened in that gym. Like, are you still going to be obligated to pay on that contract for the rest of your 3 month or 3 years? Obviously, maybe there's a clause
Yeah.
where you can like buy out your contract or whatever, but like, what if you can't afford it? Then you still got to pay those $99 a month or whatever
Ugh.
until the end of your 3 years. I don't know.
For that exact reason, anytime I go into any contract, I'm always like, I need to read the fine print
Of course.
because it's just like you never know. One of
What
the
if I break my
other
arm?
gyms,
It might be a clause, I don't know.
a lot of them they don't though. I've read so many of those contracts. And some of the other ones, it's like it's a 60-day notice. So one of the gyms that
60 days?
Yeah, one of the
Okay.
gyms that we went to, it was like 60-day notice. Granted, you don't have to go there those 60 days,
Right, but
but
you just got to tell them 60
Mhm.
days in advance.
in writing. So that's what I did when I left our other gym. And
Oh, okay.
it was one of those things, and she had already started cross training somewhere else anyway,
Yeah.
to prepare for
Ooh.
PANS.
Yeah.
So like it was just kind of crazy because it was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna not take her to the gym if I'm paying for it. And
Right.
the scheduling is like opposite, but I mean, I was still fairly new to kind of like the jiu-jitsu community. And I think this is another kind of topic upon it is there are some gyms that do not want you to cross train at other gyms.
Ooh, I was going to bring that up just now.
Yeah. And it was, like it was one of those things. And I was like, look, like it's not in your contract. Like I'm not necessarily obligated to stay. It's like, again, I think that whole loyalty piece comes in. And I think a prior coach had once told me it's just because like when they go to a competition, who is that kid gonna be competing against or competing under?
Oh, okay. I understand that, but
But at the same time, it's like I don't know. I think it just kind of boils down to also, again, the balance of loyalty, but also the balance of kind of getting that 360 training from multiple instructors.
I get it. How does your professor feel about you guys cross training?
He's okay with us cross training.
Yeah.
So like the other gyms that we were at before this one, they only had kids programs 2 to 3 days a week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Layla would go to the other gyms on the days that there are no classes.
Right. Okay.
But now it's like our gym offers classes 6 days a week.
Yeah.
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 So, but he is very supportive, and this is one thing that I kind of commend our professor on is like he really takes the time to get to know the kids and the things that they need and stuff like that. So I know like some of our other kind of kids in our competition team have started up like wrestling and stuff just to help them.
Right.
And he has like no issues with that. Like he actually was talking to me the other day and was like, hey, food for thought, like we may want to kind of get Layla into wrestling, like to prepare for PANS next year.
Right.
But we'll see how that goes because that's like the one thing that Layla doesn't want to try. But we're going to be going home for a little bit, and I think she's going to want to try it there.
Okay.
Just because it's more like familiar and then, like we're not set to like our normal schedule.
Of course.
What about you guys?
Oh, so now I don't know if it was the culture before or what I got from the old school that we were at for a couple years. I just never got the feeling it was okay to cross train. And that could have just been like culturally, you know? But I also never felt like I had much of a need. Because I wasn't as immersed into the sport. I mean, my kids were just starting, you know, and starting to compete or whatever. But so I never really felt like I had a need to. Now that my kids are like really more gung ho about competing and doing stuff like that, we've visited you guys on multiple occasions now, gone a few seminars, we've gone to other seminars. We met Danielle Kelly, you know, in South Carolina. And our coach he's pretty supportive about cross training. He's like, I'm not going to say you can't train there. There's even kids or families who train who didn't make the jump when Gina left the old school. They're still trained at both locations, you know, and he doesn't say anything bad about that. He's like, okay, if you want to train there, you know, that's you guys. Like, has nothing to do with me. But when you guys or when your kids are training with me here, like that's what I'm gonna be responsible for. So I don't feel like him or his wife Veronica, I don't think they give off that like vibe
Yeah.
that we can't train anywhere else. One day, Kenny had a private lesson, and I was like, "So, would you be offended if I brought Kenny and Dahlia to wrestling? They have in the county, they have a wrestling, you know, session coming up." And he was like, no, why would I be? I was like, I don't know. Like, I didn't want you to think like I didn't think you were good enough to teach my kids. And he's like, no, I think it's smart. Let me know how much it is. I'll put my kid in it too. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay. So I felt like I was like, I think that was, I was more nervous that he would think, and that, like you said, it's the loyalty thing. Like, I don't want him to think like I think he's a piece of shit, you know, or whatever. Because he's not. He's a good teacher. Otherwise, I wouldn't have left the other gym to go to his gym. So
But I think that's a really good point because like that situation right there, because I'm in a similar place with like where we're at now.
Mhm.
Like I respect our professor and his instruction and everything
Right.
enough. I feel like there's just more of like a relationship there, like a parent-coach relationship compared to like some of the other gyms that we had tried out before moving here.
Mhm.
Is that open communication, and maybe that loyalty piece is not just staying at one place, but having the conversation with your professor or your coach to say, hey, like this is happening, because we've cross-trained at like other gyms, especially when we travel and stuff.
Right.
And he
You don't want to lose
actually,
that opportunity too. Like,
yeah.
or
Or
you know what I mean?
just like training partners,
Yeah,
you know, like at a
exactly.
different level, or, you know, new
Exactly.
people that they don't know.
Exactly.
But
They're
that's
not
like,
that aren't used to them and they're what they like to
yeah.
go for.
And
For
that's what
sure.
I really appreciated, is because like when we went to Texas and like that
Yeah.
type of a thing, like he was the one who was like, hey, like I know this gym owner there, like
Oh,
check out
cool.
his gym, and like, you know, so that type of like support.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I like that.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
So as I was just saying, along the trend of people may not like us after this, but
Hey.
you know,
Why not?
this one's for the coaches. I know that you guys are highly skilled and qualified in your
Art form?
craft, in your
Yeah.
art. Yes,
Yeah.
perfect. But I will say, and this is not about our current professor, just saying, but I have been at other gyms where it's just so clear that the coaches don't care about the kids.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's like, that's gonna make me leave. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it though. Like, and okay, no, I see both sides, but yes, if you don't like my kid, I'm going to not trust that you want what's best for my kid, and I want what's best for my kid, and I'm paying you to want what's best for my kid.
and
So,
it doesn't even have to be personal. It could just be like an overall thing. And it's
right,
just
right, right,
like,
right.
I guess another part of that is just like, as a coach or as a professional in that field, like, yes, you don't really have to deal with the parents, but there's also that level of like respect and relationship that I feel like coaches should be held accountable for,
For sure.
because we are paying you
Yep.
like lots of money. It's not just like, no offense to like, like the seasonal or the volunteer coaches, like I give them all the props in the world for just giving their time and everything, but especially at this level,
Uh-huh.
it's just kind of like give me something a little more. You
I
know what
get
I
it.
mean?
Yep.
I think all the time about this. One time Mark went to practice at a previous gym, and because I think I had to like work or something. And I
Mhm.
remember coming home and being like, why are we at that gym? And I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? He's like, the coach was on his phone like the whole time.
Oh,
And another kid
dang.
was like teaching the class.
That's crazy.
And for him to like not be there like a lot, and then
Yeah.
that's his first like
Impression.
reaction and
Yeah.
impression, is just like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
definitely a reason why we had started looking elsewhere.
Oh, that makes sense. So I sent this to my friend. I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a meme, but I'll read it. It says, "Please don't call yourself a coach if all you work with are the elite and motivated athletes only, and then claim them as your success. A true coach works with them all, no matter the level, and claims them all, no matter their skill level. Think they're a real coach." Isn't that like
I
on
love
point?
that.
Right? I'll send it to you.
Yes.
And I think, okay, I get it. When coaches, well, it's like parenting. Like your
Yeah.
kid is an extension of you, but they're not you. So like, and I think some people tend to forget that as coaches or as parents.
But I
They're-
guess also just like, right, like to these coaches, like it's like these are your kids. So like parents, like
you want,
we all know
yeah,
that you have favorites, right? We all know you
right,
have a favorite kid, but
right.
you would never
I would never tell
admit that
anyone that.
to, especially your kid.
Yes.
So it's like, don't admit it or show it also like on the mat.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like I said, I give coaches like all the respect, and like, they're a coach, especially in this field, in this business thing.
And we get it. Your job is hard. Like not many people can do what you do.
Mhm. And we're not
So-
trying to take that away
I know,
from
I'm not, but like
them.
also don't forget my kid is and should be a valued member of your school. Also, I think their focuses are different, right? Like professionally for themselves and for their school or whatever. You know what I mean?
That's
Which like I mean like I don't know, like do you want to be the best well-rounded school, or do you want to be the best kids school? Do you want to be the best adult fighters MMA, MMA fighter school? What do you like? I think
I almost wish that as a parent I knew what type of school they were. But of
Yeah.
course, because they're trying to like recruit you into their school, they almost tell you anything and everything that you want to hear.
I get
And
it.
it's like, that's not what I'm looking
Yeah.
for. You know what I mean? Like on their side, I get it. But just on a parent's perspective, it's
Of
like, I would
course.
have saved myself a lot of time
Right.
knowing that.
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
you know what I mean? Knowing
sure.
that, hey, this is our priority as a school.
Right.
We'd love you to be here. But if that's not your priority as well, then, maybe a better place, like there's another place for you. Not
Right.
that I think any of them would ever do that, because they would never want to really turn away the business. And then, of course, there's like, especially in our society, in our world, when you do leave a school, right? You're always just like, man, they're probably talking like mad
Oh, yeah.
ish and like
Of
all this
course.
stuff. And
Of course. I mean, okay. I doubt these people are going to listen, but like I had like friendships, with people because it's a different type of relationship that you
most definitely.
that you have with your training partners. This could
Or even
probably,
just the families in the gym, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, you're with them all the time. I've actually gotten to know some of your gym families because I'm there every now and then.
Yeah.
But I think it could probably be why I don't even train anymore. When you leave that gym, you also leave those friends that you make, or like my kids, they left all their friends that they made. Only a select handful of kids came over when their coach opened up his new gym. I mean, like they're spending all this time with those kids now, and then like
Sad.
it is sad. It's sad to see that unfold. And then, it's sad to see that unfold in your own life too, because I had some really good friends, like best friends even, and now we don't even talk. Like now it's like strangers. Like I see you on my Facebook, and I could be wrong. I could, they probably don't think about me. Try to foster or not like keep fostering that relationship, and I'm not sure myself where that ended, because we were like families, like we trained and they trained, and like our husbands were friends and we were really close and our kids were super duper close. And so I'm not really sure where the fallout, like where it exactly ended, but it makes it hard when your kids who don't have that, they don't have that anymore. Like, thankfully, they're growing their own personal relationships, like at the new place they're at. So am I. And also I'm focusing on this and my other podcasts and work and stuff. So I have those things to like take my mind off of, but I will say it has been kind of hard, like getting back into wanting to train or doing whatever. I do want what's best for everyone, and what's best for me and my family obviously isn't what's best for everyone. So maybe it's a good thing that all this happened.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I
Yeah.
think that's kind of like a good point where kind of it ties all of this in, right? Is it's like leaving a gym, good or bad, it's never just a good thing. Like there's always people going to be hurt, people
Yeah.
that are going to be involved. But I think what we fail to realize on a broader like spectrum is it's a culmination of things being
Right.
there, some outside of your control,
Right.
some within your control, but also it's not just like you as a parent, your kid as the athlete, and your coach. A lot of times it's like all three of us like, well, what's best for me? Whether me as the athlete, me as the parent, or me is the business owner coach. Like if your focus, for example, is like a competitive adults competition team, then you may not be as focused on like
My kids'
getting
development. Yeah.
the, very fresh off the kind of streets like kids, either at a
Right.
very young age or whatever. And at some point you have to be okay with that, and you have to also be okay if other people choose to leave your gym. On the same end, like if you are looking for something like as a parent that gym can't offer, and you decide to leave, and like you said, like sometimes you leave behind more than just the training, you leave behind like an actual family. And as unfortunate as it is, like you'll also have to get over that piece of
Oh yeah.
like,
It's like a weird adult friendship breakup.
right? It's like,
And
oh
no
man.
one taught me how to navigate through that. Like,
It's like I can deal
Yeah.
with regular breakups,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
with
for
like
sure.
relationships,
Yeah.
but not necessarily friendships. No, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just a very complex.
Yeah. And this can go with this can go with like a dance studio. It just applies to us because both our kids, or all our kids, do jujitsu. And we've all experienced it, but
Yes,
it could apply on like dance
exactly.
moms or cheerleading moms, you know.
Yeah.
So,
But also like shout out to like awesome gyms,
oh yeah.
because like for me, when we did have that military move and we left,
Mhm.
like the reason why it was so hard for me to find a place is because I had such a great experience with the coaches and with the gym that
Yeah.
I was looking for something similar. I knew
Yeah.
it won't
They
exactly
set
be
that
the same.
standard for you,
Yeah.
right?
They set the standard of the coaches truly care about my kids.
Mhm.
And if my kids wanted to compete, like they were there, like super supportive, no questions asked, like, let's go,
Yeah.
let's do it. And that's definitely how I feel with our gym now.
Right.
But in navigating trying to find our gym now, that's not how I felt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay, I doubt any of these people are listening. Go ahead and listen. You could write back to me if you want. So there is a professor at a place that we went to. This is about Jiu-Jitsu, the super fight. This was last November. So we had asked our professor if Dolly could do the super fight because they had some weird unwritten rule that we had to like kind of filter through them if they were going to take on any fights or whatever. That wasn't like a jiu-jitsu tournament. And technically it was a tournament, but it was a super fight in the tournament. So I didn't know if we had to tell him or not. So I was like, well, let's just, chain of command and everything. I told Mike, I was like, hey, you have a better relationship with him. Can you just talk to him and ask him about Dolly doing the super fight? And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll talk to him. So he sends him a message. The professor reads it, and all he says is, I'll let you know, super fights are usually just like everyone watches one fight at a time. That's all he said. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I hadn't got a response back. I'm a millennial. I like instant gratification. So I was like, tell him to tell me yes or no, so I can sign this little kid up. And so I finally was like, screw this. I'm not going to wait anymore. And, so I told Gina, I was like, hey, so there's this tournament coming in South Carolina in March and blah, blah, blah. And they asked if Dolly wanted a super fight, and I think she could do one. And it was like the first one to be like, let's go. And then there was an adult competitor, female, that when she heard about it, she was like, oh, let's do it. And this was even before he had left that old place. He was like, we'll figure it out. I'll talk to whoever and we'll figure it out. And I go, okay. Gina was down to go. So that's how I knew like he gave a shit, like,
Yeah.
sorry, like, I don't know. I think he gives a shit about my kids. I think he gives a shit about all the kids.
He gives a shit
all-
about my kid. And
Yeah.
my kid barely goes to your gym.
Yeah. I mean, all his students, even Michael, and he still even like him and his wife, they'll both be like, when are you gonna get back to training? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I gotta hit my once a month training session quota. So maybe it's coming up. It's already September 30th. So I haven't done anything. So I should probably go to class today. But I mean, at the end of the day, it all boils down to do what's best for your family. If people don't understand that, that's not my problem. Like, you don't have to understand what I do. You don't have to understand what I do with my money, my time, how I parent my kid, whose gym I take them to, whatever. Like, if you have a problem with it, then tell me. Like, no one's ever told me I have a problem with you going to Raw MMA in Jacksonville. Like, you might have talked some shit behind my back or whatever. No one's ever said anything to my face, to my ears. So I'm ready. You know where I'm at. Fighting Fonties BJJ on Instagram. DM me. Just kidding. I'm being dumb. But I told you, I might only have like, yeah, I might have only we might only have 2 listeners. It might just be me and you that listen to our own podcast.
Just fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
A-okay.
Yeah.
Actually, we may have 4 because I at least know
Mark
of one of your
and-
friends.
oh.
One of my friends.
Oh, okay. I
So
was like,
maybe
Mark
we're
and
up to
Mike.
6.
Yay! That's good.
I don't even know if Mark is gonna listen to any of this, to be completely honest. but no,
Mike,
it's
so
fine.
Mike was listening and he was like, "Why are you guys talking about me?" I was like, "Oh God." So I think that kind of sums up what like we wanted to say about like leaving gyms. You could do it on a good or bad, like good terms or bad terms, but in the end, you're gonna do what's best for you. So
And your family. And
Yep.
that's okay.
yeah. Do you have any last things to say? Do you want to wrap things up? How do you want to do this?
Yes. Actually, we're gonna take this chance for any yellow belts or even gray black belts out there. Layla is still looking for her super fight opponent for
yeah.
jiu-jitsu October
yeah.
22nd in Somerville, South Carolina. She is 51 pounds. She's been training just a little less than 3 years. So if you guys are interested in like gi or no gi, she'll definitely be ready to take any opponent on who kind of is within her bracketing.
Ladson. It's in Ladson, South
Okay.
Carolina. Gosh, I'm such a jerk. I just like interrupted you. Okay, go
No,
ahead.
you're fine.
Yeah,
Thank
like
you for
let's find well, because they opened up a
me.
new facility. Black Force MMA opened up a new facility in
cool.
Ladson. Yep. So let's find Layla a super fight. Like
Yes, please.
I'm gonna, you know how yesterday I did the little like video on the Instagram of like I'll do a little
Yeah.
video of you talking about Layla's
Perfect.
whatchamacallit,
That's
super
exciting.
fight.
Super
Yeah.
fight.
And I'll send it to you so you can so we can find someone.
Yay.
I don't know when I'll publish this. I don't even know what days we're publishing these on. I'm kind of just like shooting them out there as I get them done. So follow us, like our pages on Instagram. We don't have a page ourselves. I don't know what we're doing. But like our kids' pages. My kids are or accounts on Instagram. It's Fightin, FIGHTIN.FONTIS.BJJ. So Fightin Fonties BJJ. Or you can follow Carissa's daughter.
It is Cheer Jitsu Girl on Instagram and Facebook. CheerJitsugirl.
Oh, we also have a Facebook, but I don't really update it as much. Is there like a I mean, I'll ask you this on to the side, but we also have a Facebook
I got you.
page.
You can auto post.
Yeah.
From both.
Oh, okay. I'll figure it out. So, yeah, like us, rate us, share our podcasts with your friends, share our podcast with us. DM us. Let us know how you feel.
Yeah. Even if you're mad.
Even
let
if
us
you're
know
mad,
that you're mad.
yeah, send those like cussing emojis. Those are my favorite. So, send us your messages, how you feel, feedback, share us. We would appreciate any type of free PR that you can do for us. Free advertising.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the best advertising.
I know, right? All right. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next time.